Good morning. Today is October 7th, 2014, and this is Before the First Cup with Zorie and Lady Pitbull on UCY.TV. Good morning, lady.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
I'm 48 years old and I'm not afraid to say it, damn it.
Good for you.
I don't give a crap because I feel so good.
It's just a number.
It is. It's all state of mind anyway.
It is,
All state of mind. I plan on being well into my hundreds unless Ebola gets me first.
Oh, God. I know. And then did you hear a nurse in Spain got it and within 5 days of being exposed?
Oh,
yeah.
Now that's crazy right there. That means
I was watching one of Pig Mind's videos this morning and about it, and they said that this priest was admitted, and then 5 days later, the nurse came down with it. The priest died within a couple of days.
There we go. I mean,
and Obama still refuses to close up our air traffic.
Well, there's Ebola for you.
Oh,
he's an idiot.
He's more interested in protecting the people over there than protecting the people here. It's crazy.
Oh, that drives me freaking crazy and insane. But they've got a Ebola-killing robot was developed in Texas. And oh, look, an Ebola-killing robot?
What?
Oh, my poor dog. She's coughing. Yeah, it's really not good. Alright, so, I don't know if I should talk while she's doing this. I don't know. But it was developed in Texas. Really? Wow, how come it was developed in Texas?
How does a robot fight Ebola?
Alright, so we'll find out here.
Yeah.
It says San Antonio, and remember the connection we made last week to San Antonio, Texas and Ebola? A local invention may turn out to be a key piece of technology in the fight against Ebola. It's a robot used by hospitals to disinfect and destroy bacteria and viruses. Meet Little Mo, the germ-zapping robot. Oh, isn't that so quaint? What's inside here is a xenon bulb, said Mark Stibich, PhD. The bulb that emits a powerful UV light which fuses the DNA of a virus and kills it. This powerful technology is now being used in 250 hospitals across the U.S. Little Mo was developed by Alamo City by Xenex. Its customers include the University Health System in San Antonio and the Dallas Hospital, where doctors are treating the first man ever diagnosed with Ebola in America. Oh my God, isn't it just so damn convenient?
Why don't we have it at the airports? You know?
I can guarantee you there's only one of these damn things, maybe two. We have been communicating with them and supporting them in any way we can, said Stibich. It's Stibich. The hell kind of word is that? Or name is that? Dr. Mark Stibich with Xenex said these robots can rid a hospital room of germs in 5 minutes and destroy Ebola on any surface in 2 minutes. Oh, wow, that's pretty friggin' fast. The operator will come and they log in, he explained, and leave the robot in a room by itself. It pulses UV light 1.5 times per second and cleaning every surface in the hospital room. And what our customers have seen and reported in the medical literature is the reduction in these infections in the rate of up to 50%. That's it? That's not a whole lot, I wouldn't say.
But then it's not killing all of the virus.
Right, what the hell's the deal with that? Up to 50% reduction in the infection. Dr. Stibich said while the Ebola virus is causing a lot of concern right now, He said it's not as big as of a threat here as it is in Africa because of our superior health care and advanced medical technology. That's bullshit. My
Oh,
mom
really?
is a nurse. She's trying to tell me that crap too. And I'm telling her, guess what? That's bullshit. Don't believe that for a second. No one should believe that line of crap for one iota of a second. Because if this thing gets out like it's going to, give it about 10 more days, and we're all going to be freaking out right now.
Well, Obama, he just said in his speech in a video I was watching earlier that the Americans don't have to fear Ebola coming here.
Right? He's an idiotic moron.
Yeah, but it's already here.
Yeah, I know. He's a freaking and it's already in Europe, so that's it. I mean, all it takes is just that. Um,
Spain, you
yeah,
know.
yeah. So here's this is like the top article there on Drudge. It says neighbors of Ebola patient feel discriminated against.
Huh?
If you can
Oh,
freaking believe that.
oh, jeez.
Here we go. Oh my god. Wait till people start dying and then I don't think they'll feel so damn discriminated against. Freaking morons. Oh my god, there's morons that live everywhere. I can't believe it. Okay. Yeah, it's from Dallas.
And oh, go
Residents
ahead.
in the Vickery Meadow neighborhood of Dallas are living near the epicenter of the Ebola scare in North Texas. Now they are facing a different challenge. Discrimination. Thomas Duncan stayed at an apartment in the community before being diagnosed with Ebola and admitted into Texas Health Presbyterian Hospital for treatment. Dallas City Council member Jennifer Starbuck Gates says that she met with over 30 community leaders on Monday trying to assess the needs of the residents. Most are concerned about the possible stigma living near the apartment building. Unfortunately, they are feeling discriminated against, said Gates. Poor people. We still have some that have been turned away from jobs, some that have been turned away at all retail locations. We are getting them in touch with legal aid and any resources necessary. Are you
I
freaking
thought they were
kidding
in
me?
quarantine.
They are.
How can they be out looking for a job?
That's what it means to be quarantined. Hello. I mean,
This is getting more idiotic by the minute.
I know, and this is the absolute stupidity that's going to get this virus spread like wildfire. Just this
Now,
mindset.
we have another fear. Get this. Washington, an Al Qaeda cell in Syria that was targeted in American military airstrikes last month could be working on a plan to attack the United States or its allies and is looking to do it very, very soon, the head of the FBI says. So we have ISIS, we have Al Qaeda now, too, to be afraid of. We have Ebola, we have that virus 89.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this
The
is just
enterovirus.
right. This is insanity. Now Al Qaeda's back. They just bring these guys up at a whim, and now they're going to
And
attack us
don't
very, very
forget
soon.
about open borders.
Right? Open borders. Here we go again. You know, eh, this is nuts. What are they going to come up with next? I guess we're just not scared enough.
Yeah, well, they're gonna come up with some kind of suitcase nuke thing. Cause now look, it's gotta be the next quote unquote attack. Has to be bigger and more grandiose than either 9/11 and Oklahoma City, and this Ebola thing all rolled into one.
Yeah.
That's the case because they have to. This Ebola thing's pretty damn bad.
Yeah. Man,
Um,
I don't know. This is every time I don't even like to look at the news anymore because they just keep coming up with more and more and more.
yeah, I'm just kind of scanning this article.
Next, Al Qaeda, will be living next door on one side, and ISIS will be on the other side, and Ebola will be in the next neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yep. All right. Oh, look. Reverend Jesse Jackson announced on Twitter that he will be traveling to Dallas Tuesday to discuss Ebola concerns with local pastors and community leaders. Oh, yeah. Well, the rest of
Yeah.
that stupid story wasn't worth reading anyway, so.
He only shows up when there's press involved.
Yeah, he only shows up when, when discrimination is called.
Yeah, like those people in Ferguson. I mean, that one video, I just thought, yes, because they were telling Jesse Jackson to get out, go away. You just come here for the limelight,
Oh,
We
yeah.
don't want you here. If you really want to help people, go get these protesters out of jail. Do something. Don't just come in and grandeur. And I was so proud of those people, man. He just sat in the car and looked at him. He didn't say a word.
Oh, this is interesting here.
What's that?
Well, alright, well, we're on the Ebola thing, so. Yikes, man. This whole thing is just nuts. Absolutely crazy. I mean, it's not until, like, you or your family gets sick, or you start seeing people dying in the streets until all of the other stupid, trivial crap melts away from your psyche. Why does it come to something like that before people like figure shit out? Why is it that staring death in the face, then you figure out your freaking problems? Why is that? I don't
Or you
understand.
care
that.
about the people. You show that you care, and you. But in everyday life, it's like me. Why I stopped celebrating Christmas. We spend that 1 month caring about other people and giving up free taxi rides home when they're drunk and everything. But the rest of the year, we could give a shit.
Right. I mean, it's weird. I'm not just talking about the Ebola thing here. I'm talking
Right,
about
it's
just everything. I mean, I don't know.
like you don't care about police brutality until it happens to someone you care about.
Or you.
Or you, right? People, they've lost empathy. The ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I don't know. To me, a society without empathy isn't worth much.
Right. Maybe this is the reason why we're going down the tubes.
It could be one of them.
I think so. I totally think so.
Mm-hmm. And there's still a lot of people out there oblivious to Ebola. They believe that it's only over there and it couldn't affect them. So they don't care. They don't even think about it.
Right. Or what I just read, the bullshit that I just read, like, oh, they don't have the kind of hospitals they have in Africa. Here, we're so far advanced, and that's the CDC just touting that line. And it's total bullshit. I mean, what did we say last week? That there were there were only like 19 level 4 beds in this whole entire country for this scale of a virus. It's for quarantine.
Right.
19 beds. That's it.
I know. It's like I said, we don't care about our people. We're more worried about the rest of the world.
Right.
I mean, I can see charity begins at home. Take care of yourself, then you have the ability to help others. But, when you're under attack, how are you going to help anyone else?
Right, you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Got news for everybody. Unbelievable, man. I don't know. This whole thing is... Oh, here we go. Well, here, I'm just going to go ahead and read this one. In 1976, I discovered Ebola. Now I fear an unimaginable tragedy. So, Peter Pyatt was a researcher at a lab in Antwerp when a pilot brought him a blood sample from a Belgian nun who had fallen mysteriously ill in Zaire. Okay. I still remember exactly. One day in September, a pilot from Sabina Airlines brought us a shiny blue thermos and a letter from a doctor in Kinshasa in what was then Zaire. In the thermos, he wrote, there was a blood sample from a Belgian nun who had recently fallen ill from a mysterious sickness in Yambuku, a remote village in northern part of the country. He asked us to test the sample for yellow fever. Oh, this is like an interview. So the interviewer asked, these days Ebola might have only be researched in high security laboratories. How did you protect yourself back then? He said he had no idea how dangerous the virus was, and there were no high security labs in Belgium. We just wore white lab coats and protective gloves. When we opened the thermos, the ice inside had largely melted and one of the vials had broken. The blood and glass shards were floating in the ice water. We fished the other intact test tube out of the slop and began examining the blood for pathogens using the methods that were standard at the time. And then the interviewer asked, oh, I don't know, this is pretty freaking long. I'm not going to read all this.
But
Screw
that's
that.
1976, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Alright, it says there will... Here we go. The dude asks, do you think we will be facing the beginnings of a pandemic? And then he says, there will certainly be Ebola patients from Africa who come to us in the hopes of receiving treatment. They might even infect a few people here who then may die.
Wow.
But an outbreak in Europe or North America would quickly be brought under control. That's bullshit. I'm more worried about the many people from India who work in trade or industry in West Africa. It would only take one of them to become infected, travel to India to visit relatives during the virus's incubation period, and then once he becomes sick or goes to a public hospital there. Doctors in India too don't often wear protective gloves. They would immediately become infected and spread the virus. So
they keep using the same scenarios. If whenever anything new happens, go back a few years and you'll find that it happened before.
Right. He was asked, the virus is continually changing its genetic makeup. The more people who can become infected, the greater chance becomes that it will mutate. And then the doc says, which might speed its spread. Yes, that is really the apocalyptic scenario. Humans are actually just an accidental host for the virus, and not a good one. From the perspective of a virus, it isn't desirable for its host, within which the pathogen hopes to multiply, to die so quickly. It would be much better for the virus to allow us to stay alive longer. And then he says, could the virus suddenly change itself, such as it could be spread through the air? And the guy says, like measles, you mean? Luckily, this is extremely unlikely. That's bullshit. Dude, I'm not going to read any more what this asshole is saying, because he's just touting the bullshit line.
And they're using the same line still.
Over and over and over. Mm-hmm. It's so that people will go back to complacency, sleep, and not worry about this stuff until it's right in their backyard or their mom's dying of it. I mean,
our government will protect us,
Yeah,
We're in.
yeah. Watch out, the government will protect us. Governor
Yeah,
Perry's
watch out.
Governor Perry's calling for checkpoints. Oh, Ebola checkpoints. Nice.
What, they're going to stop people in their cars and take their temperature or what?
Yeah, let's read
Or if
this.
you have a cold, all right, you're quarantined.
Yeah, well, that's what the NDAA thing says. That's exactly what it says. If you have any
Hmm.
respiratory distress, then you can be quarantined.
Yep. And that's the symptoms of it is like the flu symptoms or cold, common cold.
That's right.
So,
Absolutely right.
and then we have another fear. If you use marijuana, more
Oh
people
yeah, wait, let's not
hospitalized.
go there.
Oh, okay.
Let's not go there quite yet. Let me get
Oh,
this. Let's see. What? You know, here's the thing. I am I'm clicking on some of these articles on Drudge, and it redirects you to a different article altogether. Someone's screwing with Drudge's site, man. Where in the hell is that Perry thing? Governor Perry calls for checkpoints. Yeah, this is screwed up. All right, if you want to read that cannabis article, go ahead, because this and just everybody needs to pay attention on where this information is coming from.
right. And you know what? What's weird yesterday? Now this is really strange. After the show, I turned on the sound on UCY before the first cup, and Lori's show was on. Not us, but Lori's show.
Yeah, there is some weird shit going on.
Yep, and I have two computers down now,
Oh my
and
god.
I only have one that's working. That's this one. I have another one in backup reserve. I'm thinking I might have to bring that out. I still haven't heard from the shop for my big one, but yeah, my one where I put all my backups and everything. Now it'll come up, and then within 5 minutes, it completely locks up.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I can't do anything on it. It just locks up. It doesn't get a blue screen to death or anything. It's just everything dies. The mouse can't work. I have to power it down with the button. So I don't know. I've been working on computers for almost 20 years, and I've never had machines just boom, boom, boom like this. And my laptop died. So, I don't know.
I'm
It's
trying right this minute to put something in a damn search engine and it won't let me type. Oh, there it goes. How weird
Well,
is this?
Flash Flash is crashing every day, and then you gotta wait. And I'm getting this other thing now that says there's a script that's taking too long. Do you want to stop it or wait? Uh, and everything locks up. So I don't know. It it's nuts. Who
So
knows what Windows has put in its programs? Because each one of these machines has a different version of Windows, from Vista, Windows 7, and Windows 8, and then my other one has Linux. So it's not even the browser that's doing it.
and it's messing up. It's they're attacking us for real. Okay, here's a little quickie here. All right. Rick Perry calls for Ebola checkpoints at border. Texas Governor Rick Perry is calling for fully staffed quarantine stations anywhere people enter the country, CNN reports. Huh, well, that's wise. Isn't that what should be going on? This is the action that needs to be taken, and at least he needs to freaking do it, not just freaking talk about it.
Hmm.
Perry used executive action on Monday to create the Texas Task Force on Infectious Disease Preparedness and Response to study and improve Texas's readiness to deal with such diseases as Ebola. Wow, nothing like doing something like that at the last frickin' second when you haven't trained anybody. Texas became the first state to face Ebola when Thomas Duncan is diagnosed with the virus, blah, 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 after arriving in Dallas and Liberia. The dude is in critical condition right now. His family remains quarantined and citing discrimination.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Perry said There is only so much that a state can do. He called on Washington to take immediate steps to minimize the risk of Ebola. The American public, however, has little confidence that the federal government's competency in dealing with the disease. Oh, yeah. A recent Associated Press poll found that more than half of the respondents lack confidence in the government's ability to protect them. Yay! Well, hey, at least there's something there that's accurate in one of these Ebola articles that we've been covering. I mean, that was probably the most accurate statement yet. No, nobody trusts the government. Thanks. Nice statement.
Yeah, why aren't more people making more demands on Obama?
Because it's not, nobody freaking will say anything until it's on their doorstep. Or
pretty much is.
It is. I mean, how you gonna? I don't know. You got your next door neighbor that had Ebola, and your whole entire apartment building is under quarantine. But no,
yeah, you can go look for a job.
Yeah.
And be discriminated against.
Yeah, I mean, what the hell kind of logic is that? People do not understand the gravity of the situation, and that's surely a death sentence. Surely a death sentence. I mean, if you have people that were taking this crap seriously, and also the family, I know they tried to break out. They tried to sneak out of their apartment. Obviously, they're not aware of the. What are they doing being quarantined in a freaking apartment building anyway?
Where the Ebola virus is probably at.
Yeah, they need to freaking.
They didn't take all the people out of there immediately and put them in quarantine somewhere else and then sterilize the apartment.
Absolutely. No. And put one of those giant, like,
robots.
Those giant, no, not a robot, but they need to, there's a giant.
Fumigate.
Yeah, hazmat has those big bubble things that go over entire freaking buildings. How come we're not seeing that?
Right, those people that exterminators use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's also the hazmat teams have those too. You know what I mean?
We don't do anything.
And here it is. You know what I mean? Oh my God! It's just they want this shit to spread. They want it to spread.
And I have to question the report on people are being discriminated when they apply for jobs and stuff. How would the people know that they were from the apartment?
Right.
That had the Ebola. This is the propaganda
is turned away at retail stores. I mean, what the
fuck? How would anyone know if you're I'm walking into a retail store and do I have a sign on my head that says I live in that apartment?
Right, exactly. This is all such bullshit. If this is the way that we handle a true blue, like red hot, fire hot emergency, we are in freaking trouble as a country. I mean, if this is the way we deal with it.
And this is, this is pure propaganda. And, if common sense has left the planet, because if you listen to the report and everything we just said, none of it would make any sense to you.
Yeah, that's right. Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. Plus there's no travel ban anywhere to be found for our borders, and it's, I don't know, they're just not protecting us at all. They're not doing their jobs. The WHO isn't doing its job. The freaking CDC is not doing its job. So, you know what? I think that just by default, we need to eliminate these freaking organizations.
Right. They're agencies that don't do anything except, harm us or put us in harm's way.
throw in the
it's sad.
FDA in there. I mean, everybody needs to be freaking fired, and these agencies need to be dealt. I mean, and the thing is that you can't just do that in the middle of a freaking emergency. You can't dismantle these organizations, especially the WHO. WHO, they absolutely are the World Health Organization. They're absolutely the UN arm of controlling the entire population of the entire world here. Oh man.
Exactly. And
Go ahead, and so that kind of leads into the cannabis thing. You want to go ahead
okay,
and take that?
yeah, I'll read that one. Okay, more people hospitalized by bad batch of synthetic marijuana. West Reading, Pennsylvania. A bad batch of synthetic marijuana continues to put people in Berks County in the hospital. The emergency department at Reading Hospital is still flooded with patients overdosing and getting sick on a bad batch of K2. Hospital officials told 69 News they have seen 25 additional cases related to K2 in the last 7 days. That's now 55 total emergency department visits over the last 3 weeks. I'd like to see it gone, and I'll do anything in my power to get rid of it, said Felicia Harrell, who has several friends who overdosed on K2 and landed in the hospital. The drug is cheap and easily accessible, Harrow said. A big source is coming from Reading. I've heard that a few people are going and spraying it with Raid and trying to sell it as K2, said Harrow. Berks County District Attorney John Adams said he believes the batch of K2 is laced with heroin. His office is still awaiting lab results to confirm. Officials in the area are now stressing awareness. The Council on Chemical Abuse hosted workshop responding to synthetic drug abuse on Monday. 40 professionals learned about the side effects and became better educated about the epidemic confronting Berks County, another epidemic. If we can take this message to parents and children that the more information that's out there, the better, and about how serious these things are and that it can and will result in death, said Martha Thompson, a regional expert on synthetic drug abuse. We need to increase access to care and get people into treatment that they need. Hallucinating seizures and violent behavior are several of the side effects of synthetic drugs. So, yeah, I'd never heard of this K2.
Yeah, that was what those people were smoking, and then they went and started eating on everybody. Or was that bath salts?
No, that was bath salts. But this, I mean, okay, they're spraying Raid, and then now they don't know if it's Raid or heroin. Come on, they're just grabbing in a basket.
Okay, so, all right, so exactly what I was just talking about with the World Health Organization, right? And then the heroin thing, and then the cannabis thing. So I've got something to tie that whole thing all together, which is what I thought you were gonna read. But I'll read it right now. It's yeah, this is what the World Health Organization, their bullshit that they're trying to tout. All right, it says cannabis as addictive as heroin, a new study finds. Okay, so you go, what? Right? Because anybody who has smoked it, as I have, knows. And anybody who's also done heroin, as I have, knows that there's no comparison whatsoever to cannabis and heroin. It says cannabis can be highly addictive, cause mental health problems, and lead to hard drug use, according to a new study by a British addiction specialist. The paper by Professor Wayne Hall, who is an advisor for the World Health Organization says that cannabis use can have numerous harmful side effects, including mental illness, impaired driving ability, and lower educational attainment. That's bullshit.
Okay, then now they're saying that about marijuana, not about the K2, right?
Right, yes, this is regular
Okay.
cannabis.
Yeah.
Professor Hall found that it it could double the risk of severe psychiatric disorders, including schizophrenia, that 1 in 6 teenagers and 1 in 10 adults who regularly use it, it can become dependent on. They can become dependent on it, and that smoking it during pregnancy can reduce the baby's weight.
Uh,
The Daily Mail quotes Professor Hall as dismissing those who claim that the drug is harmless. If cannabis is not addictive, then neither is heroin or alcohol. Oh my God! It is often harder to get people who are dependent on cannabis through withdrawal than what? Let me read this again. It is often harder to get people who are dependent on cannabis through withdrawal than heroin. Than for heroin. We just
what?
don't know how to do it. Holy shit. Is this guy for real? I can't even freaking believe that this.
Oh,
He,
so if you smoke marijuana and then you quit, you're gonna go through worse withdrawals than
then
heroin
then for
addiction.
heroin. Yeah.
Now,
Um
see, the lies just keep going and going and going. If they can't scare you with, like reefer madness, now they come up with this.
all right, so here's the symptoms that for heroin or for cannabis withdrawal. He added that those who try to stop taking the drug can often suffer anxiety, lower appetite, depression, and insomnia. And less than half the people who stop taking it can stay off it for 6 months.
I
All
have
right,
something.
so let's go through the list that you suffer from heroin withdrawal. Sweating profusely, hot and cold swings, so you sweat profusely and then you get freezing cold, vomiting, vomiting like you wouldn't believe, like unimaginable vomiting. These are physical, I mean, manifestations. You have hallucinations when you're withdrawing from heroin. You, um, obviously, all of those, lower appetite, depression, and insomnia. That obviously happens, but I don't know, man. And then
That's insanity. And they're doing the same thing. This is why kids and teenagers don't listen to adults because it's like the tooth fairy again.
right, it's that this asshole Hall, Professor Hall writes. The important point I'm trying to make is that people can get into difficulties with cannabis use, particularly if they get into daily use over a long period. Really, um, there is no doubt that heavy users experience a withdrawal symptom such as with alcohol and heroin. Really? You know what? I could stop smoking it right now if I wanted to.
I've had friends that have smoked for 40 years daily and they are fine. They go to work, they function just like anyone else.
Absolutely. He says rates of recovery from cannabis dependence among those seeking treatment are similar to those for alcohol. Oh my God. Mark Winstanley, of the charity Rethink Mental Illness told the Mail, too often cannabis is wrongly seen as a safe drug, but as this review shows, there's a clear link with psychosis and schizophrenia, especially for teenagers. The common view that smoking cannabis is nothing to get worked up about needs to be challenged most effectively. Instead of classifying and reclassifying, government time and money would be much more spent on educating young people about how smoking cannabis is essentially playing a very real game of Russian roulette with your mental. mental health. So there you have it. Now,
Okay, now you know what I think their main goal is here, because people are yelling to take marijuana off of the Schedule 1 list. That
right.
makes it more dangerous than heroin. Because once they do that, then they won't be able to go in raiding all these people's homes and stuff. So
Well,
I think
I
this all
think.
has to do with that.
Well, no, there is a much broader agenda behind this that has to do with the World Health Organization and the UN. Cannabis, in and of itself, is a medicinal herb, and the World Health Organization and the United Nations cannot have cannabis like becoming legal around the world because you can they want people to be as sick as possible, right? So that when these Ebola things crop up and you're at this, they want everybody to be completely sick and in it and unable to cure themselves, well, with cancer and all this crap coming down. This cannabis is a direct threat to um the United Nations as a whole. It's a direct threat to them because it puts everybody with the hemp, along with the hemp, it could feed and clothe all the people of the world, stop starvation. They don't want to stop starvation. That's not in their freaking primary directive called Agenda 21. You know what I mean? They can't have it. They can't have cancer patients curing themselves with Simpson oil, or
Or not buying their pharmaceuticals
not
because we're
buying their
paying into.
pharmaceuticals on a worldwide level. So this cannabis has always been a direct threat to the very agenda of the United Nations and everybody, and David Rockefeller and the Rothschilds and all of that. It's you know this is this is why. So they obviously paid this guy big bucks, just like the global warming aspect of it. They pay those scientists and professors big bucks to tout their, you know, the line that they need everybody to believe. So here we go. I mean, the and they don't know what to do. The UN has no clue what to do because so many states in the United States have now passed medical marijuana laws and now decriminalized it in 2 states. So they don't know what to do. They're freaking out right now because all of um, their pharmaceutical investments are getting undercut. All of everything that they're invested in will be undercut by cannabis. So there's
Their
a
prison industry, the money they're making there too.
yeah, big time. So there's a bigger picture here involved than just what you were stating. Even though that's a big part of it, I think they're scared. They're freaking out right now, and they're trying to pull anything out of their stinking butts that they can possibly do um, to demonize cannabis. So, and anybody who's like a researcher worth their salt, knows that that's not true. It's just exactly like the global warming thing. They have got to have that argument on
Well, they have
board.
to also keep it as a Schedule 1 because then, even if your state allows it, they can still come in and arrest you for it. As long as it's a Schedule 1, the federal government will always be able to come in, cross the state border, and arrest you, even though you're being legal in your state.
Yeah, but and right, that's why they want to, that's why it's federal. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That's their arm to get Americans subjugated is through the federal government because we know that Obama follows UN orders to the letter, and we know this. He's goose stepping with them.
Right, and it just takes us back to the only way the government can control you is through crime. If you're a criminal, they can control you. If you're not, they can't. So, they make stupid rules like this so that, they're so widely interpreted, where it's crazy. It
Yeah.
is insane. And people just keep buying it.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. But
Oh, well, the survey I was reading about yesterday, a survey, I forget which one, taken, asked if people thought the government could protect them. You know how nine said they thought that it could,
right.
and the other 91% said no. So people are waking up. They really are. But, you know,
Well,
I mean, how
I
could you
mean,
not? Look at this. I mean, look at the state we're in right at this minute, and how could anyone with common sense at all
right.
not see this? Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't know.
Oh, and
It's
now did you see Obama's putting special agents at the airports now that are trained in recognizing Ebola? That's his cure, not stopping traffic, but to put special agents in there so they'll know if you have Ebola by sight.
it's insane, man. I mean, because hello, I thought there was a 21-day incubation period where there's no signs at all. I mean,
Now this nurse
they
after 5 days.
how are they going to just spot those people that are
Hmm.
carriers of the typhoid Mary? They're
Hmm.
not.
Yeah. So,
The the
and,
guy the guy in Dallas wasn't showing anything when he was on the flight. He wasn't showing anything. There's no, and that's why he didn't get screened. He wasn't showing fever or anything yet.
well, and like you see all the time on YouTube, people that are saying, well, yeah, we went through and they didn't even take our temperature, didn't even ask us anything,
Right.
and we're not set up. People aren't, they can send these alerts out in every form, text, all these forms, but yet the people screening people coming into the country don't have a clue as to what to look for. And even if they did, they don't do it. You know, I mean, they're not taking people coming from South Africa and putting them in quarantine as they enter the country. No, and the people that are infected, a lot of them have visas and they can come right on into the country.
Exactly.
It's just like our open borders down south. It's, and now there's all these sick kids and stuff that they're sending out to every state, and their symptoms are the same as Ebola.
Yeah. Really?
Hmm.
So,
Coughing and fever and what was it? Obama said that, well, we have sent special agents down to take care of the people coming into the country that are sick.
oh
It's
my God.
yeah,
When the
uh,
hell is this shit gonna? It's not gonna end. It's only gonna get worse. I'd be having a great birthday if all this Ebola crap wasn't around.
oh, you go ahead and have a good birthday. You gotta have fun, son. They hate it. You gotta have fun. You gotta go out and enjoy your life with, everything that's so bad around us, and who knows how, when, or what is gonna happen. So you got to live for the moment, and you have to enjoy what life you have.
Oh, sure, I know that. It's
Yeah.
just, it's just, it's weird because like every year, I always ask myself, "Hey, man, are you gonna even see next year?" I mean,
I,
I mean,
you know,
you never know. You
I
never
lost
know.
two friends this year, and go out and spend time with the people you love because you don't know how much time you have with them.
That's right. And it
Yeah.
doesn't even have to be like, some kind of crazy plague either. You could
No.
just go outside your door and an accident could happen.
Yeah, mine, he got a motorcycle wreck and he was gone. From that morning, said hi, have fun on the ride, and never,
Yeah, you just don't
right.
know.
Yeah, so, enjoy people and don't forget to enjoy your life. These things are important, yes. That's why we do this radio show, is to keep people informed and to know what's going on. But you can't become paranoid and let it disrupt your life.
Right.
You have to go on, and the important thing is go out and meet new people. There's a lot of nice people out there. Don't let them make you afraid of your neighbor.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, so are you gonna go out and party and get drunk and
Oh,
crazy?
hell no. No. I got drunk like last weekend, and oh my God, I'm
I
not.
know you say. I can remember when I started my birthday a week early and just
Oh,
partied all week. Oh, are you kidding? Those days are long gone.
long gone. Yep, absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
like I tell you, I'm limited to 2 martinis, and nobody will give me my third. I just love everybody once I have my third martini.
Oh, you're one of those love drunks. I see.
Yes, I want to hug everybody. Tell them how much I love them.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. That's good.
yeah.
I don't know. I try really hard not to change my personality when I drink. Um I try really hard to keep grounded. It's kind of like a challenge for me. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. Um
Oh, I don't know. I'm still me because I'm friendly anyway. I always hug everybody I know and I greet them and all that. So it's just I'm more flamboyant about it, I guess.
There we go. Oh
Yeah.
my god. Well, let's see. I'm trying to look at other stuff here. Um, let me see. Here's I'm not going to really go in and read this, but here's one that says parents outrage public school system considering teaching kindergartens masturbation.
What? Oh, it's Satanism,
Yeah.
masturbation, lesbianism.
Yeah.
Oh my
Should I
God.
or no?
Yeah, read that. I
Me
mean,
want me to read that? Okay.
this is our kids.
Oh, I know. I know. Oh God, man.
Isn't that a parent's responsibility?
To
You would
teach their
think.
children how to masturbate?
Well, yeah, and teach them about it because it is a fact of life. You don't hide things from kids or make it ugly or dirty, but you introduce it. It's a parent's responsibility to introduce them to these things when they think they're ready.
I not at kindergarten level.
Right.
When they're in kindergarten, it's like shit. You'll discover that crap when you're up to puberty
Hmm.
age. I mean, that's for. I mean, really, isn't that just like an individual's own like
Right.
path to explore? I wouldn't even want my mom to talk to me about that crap. You know what I mean?
Well,
I
I
gotta.
don't know. I was very open with my daughter all her life, but she asked a question, I answered it. What most parents don't understand is when your child asks you something about sex, if you just give them a straightforward, quick answer, then they're good with it and they go on their way. But most
Yeah.
parents are so afraid to talk about it with their children when their children are watching it on TV and the movies and everything. You know, you got to be honest with your kids and bring human, you know, feelings and things out in the open and stop putting it in a closet somewhere.
I remember a question I asked my mom one time.
But
And she's a nurse, so she answered the damn question, right.
yeah,
I was wondering if like upon I didn't know what the hell ejaculation was, but I said, does the man pee inside the woman?
huh? And she explained it to you, and
She
then you went on
explained
your
it
way,
to me.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was like, oh,
yeah.
okay. That was it.
Right. They fear this big speech they got to give. And when really, most kids, if you just give them an answer to the question they ask, then they forget it. I mean, it's put back and they go along their way. But if you hem and haw and try and avoid it, then it makes them curious. Like, why don't they want to tell me?
Right. All
Yeah.
right. So here it is. This is out of Las Vegas. Monday's Clark County School District Board of Trustees meeting was met with a packed room of angry parents who recently discovered possible updates to the district's sex education curriculum, which could teach kids as young as 5 years old about topics like masturbation. Weren't we just talking about this like yesterday? We certainly should not be teaching 5-year-olds that masturbation and pleasuring one's body is good, and that a 12-year-old should know about the very details of anal and oral sex, said one parent. I agree with that parent. Another followed with, words cannot even begin to describe my shock when I read what is being suggested to be taught to my daughter at age 5 or 6. Well, guess what, people? Take your kids out of school.
Or do what you're supposed to. Like, do they even have PTA anymore?
Oh, I don't know. Who knows?
You know,
Says another appalled parent told the crowd that a section of the proposal teaches kids that abortion is safe, which she did not necessarily agree with. The proposals are, see, they're learning this crap in school. The proposals are derived from the Guidelines for Comprehensive Sexuality Education, published by the Sexuality Information and Education Council of the United States. What?
oh boy. We have a council for this?
Apparently we do. CCSD high school student Chloe Davis said, I think I went through about 20 pages and I couldn't continue with it because some of the stuff was just too disturbing for me, and at the age that I am, and I am 17 years old, and she couldn't even take it. I'm sure there's graphic photos of like anal penetration and all that, fellatio and God knows what. The night was also met with opposition from those who say the district is allowing students proceed in ignorance, which can backfire. What? What a dumbass! I received sex education in the 8th grade and 10th grade. In 8th grade, I was taught little to nothing. I entered it as a sexual assault survivor, and I was told that if I did not wait to have sex until marriage, that I was impure, vile, and that it was not an okay thing, said
What?
CCSD student in Caitlin Corso. That's in fucking sane. So they are saying don't wait till marriage in order to have sex.
You know, a complete turnaround. You know, in the 40s and 50s, you were looked down upon if you had sex before marriage. It was horrible. And, you know, all these bad things, syphilis, and I mean, it just went on and on. But now it's about face. Saying, go out, have sex, have babies, have whatever you want.
Yeah, here's the stupid lies here. Here comes the lies, guys. We currently have the 7th highest teen pregnancy rate in the country, and our current curriculum is failing our students, added Sarah Lama with the CCSD Sex Education Advisory Committee. Currently, the district has an opt-out policy where parents give consent to allow their students to study sex education. The new proposal is considering an opt-out policy instead. District leaders say the proposals will continue to be discussed with parents at upcoming advisory meetings, and then they'd have to be adopted by state lawmakers during the 2015 legislative session. If adopted, the earliest changes could take effect. That would be July of 2015. A representative with the district says the next meeting with the advisory committee will be held in November. I think that this is making me absolutely freaking want to puke right now.
And don't the parents have any, like I said, the state owns your kids, you know, and what they say is best for them, they know better than you do.
That's right. Oh my God, this is Rome. This is what happened, what preceded the fall of Rome, right? Is what we're seeing right now. This is
And they're
absolutely
attacking
ridiculous.
our kids, and no one seems to give a shit. Like in high school, only the only ones fighting back are the kids. Like in that high school where they want to change history books.
Right.
And now we're teaching sex education to 5-year-olds,
Yeah, this is
and this is
insane.
gonna stop teenage pregnancies. How?
No, it's going to actually get them sexually charged when they're freaking 10 years old, before they even hit puberty. That's what this is designed to do.
And look at all the kids, the young girls, 9 years old with breasts, wearing D cups and stuff, and they're starting their menstruation early, like at 8, 9 years old, from what the GMOs, the food, and whatever that's being hidden on it. So they're gonna be, involved in sex at a younger age, and they're promoting it.
Oh, wow. Um, Here's an update to something. Do you remember when the SWAT raid team critically injured a toddler with a flashbang grenade right to the
Yes.
crib? Apparently, the grand jury is saying no criminal charges are going to be filed.
I thought they already said that.
Against the
Because the
cop.
police chief said they followed procedure, and it's sad that a baby gets hurt, but they didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it says. All
Now, if you
right,
do something that accidentally hurts someone else, you're in prison, whether you meant it or not.
right, exactly. Oh my God, I'm just kind of scrolling down here to see what's going
So,
on.
what I'm wondering is, are they going to be responsible for the kid's surgery, or is that going to be on the? It's probably going to be on the parents with no help.
Oh, I'm sure that's
He's
pretty
going to
much
have to
how
have
these things
many,
work.
many surgeries.
I'm almost positive that that's going to be the case. All right, so what else? What else have we got?
Let me see. I hit that one, that one. I'm looking. It's just so much. You just kind of go, what, what?
Yeah,
Uh, the Ferguson thing's still going on. Police violated constitutional rights of Ferguson protesters, federal judge says. A Missouri federal judge has agreed with an American Civil Liberties Union lawsuit claiming the First Amendment rights of Ferguson residents and their supporters were violated when law enforcement made arbitrary rules about them. It's coming back up. So I mean, okay, so it comes up and says that, but you know, is anyone going to be held accountable? I wonder. Let me look. Chief
oh,
U.S. District Judge Catherine D. Perry ruled on Monday that when law enforcement officers insisted that protesters and journalists keep moving during protests over the death of an unarmed teenager, Michael Brown, in August, they violated the people's constitutional rights. The rule of law is essential to our constitution system of government, and it applies equally to law enforcement officers and to other citizens, wrote Judge Perry in a ruling, according to the Huffington Post. Uh, During those protests, authorities began enforcing a new rule in the area where demonstrators had gathered to protest the fatal shooting by police. The ALCU of Missouri argued in their lawsuit, Mustafa Abdullah versus County of St. Louis, that the 5-second rule, which police told protesters was the length of time they could stand in a certain spot before moving on, had no statutory or regulatory reference. As a consequence of a ruling in the case, Judge Perry issued a preliminary injunction banning St. Louis County Police and Missouri State Highway Patrol officers from using the tactic. Oh, so they broke the law, and so the only thing that's going to happen to them is don't do it again now as you shake your fingers at them, I guess.
yeah, exactly.
That's what I mean. These cops, if they get angry, they make up laws off the top of their head. And like that 5-second rule, I never heard of that.
Yeah,
But
that's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, and cops, they don't, I don't know, their mentality is really, really sick, because I've heard cops make up the most outrageous saying this, well, this is against the law, or I can do this because, and their reason is usually just because I said.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, and more, they found that over 5,000 people were killed by police last year.
Wow.
These are, they don't keep records, for one thing. And why is that? Our government keeps a database on everything. I mean,
Hey,
ask how many cops got killed and they know, you know, ask, but how many people have police killed? We don't know.
well, that sounds like an epidemic to me.
Well, yeah, and people are starting to see it. I mean, everyone's, questioning the police now that didn't before, and then arming them. I mean, they're armed for war, and the only ones for them to fight here is us.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Welcome to the police state.
and we have been in the police state ever since 9/11.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the NDAA, and it's like I was watching this one guy, and I mean, for a constitutional lawyer, as Obama is supposed to be, how could he ever have signed the NDAA?
Well, because he is being paid to, do what they want. He's just a puppet. He's just a puppet. He doesn't make any decisions.
Right.
All of his decisions are made for him.
I would think that they would have gave him a different profession to be part. Obviously he doesn't know the Constitution. Obviously
No,
he
he
doesn't
knows the
go by it.
Constitution. He knows it. He just chooses not to abide by it. Why? Because it's getting paid not to abide by it. He knows damn well what he's doing. I
I
mean,
don't know.
he's
They
supposed to play dumb and stupid and you know what I mean? That's he's paid to have that demeanor. He
Is
knows what
that
he's doing.
true? They say he was a professor, but yet no students remember him as being a teacher there at the school that he was supposed to have taught at.
He's a
Has anyone seen
Manchurian. He's a Manchurian candidate, George.
that? I
He
mean,
has been programmed to do exactly what he's been programmed to do, just like George W. Bush. Same damn thing, Manchurian candidate, all the way.
I mean, we ask for people's proof that they're qualified to do their job, like doctors, and they have their plaques up on the wall so we can see that they, got a degree. But no one ever, I have never seen where any of his degrees are, have been ever publicized, and they've been in
No,
question.
well, basically all of his degrees are as good as a doctor's degree anymore, because the reason why I say that is because the doctors don't really do exactly what they were taught either. All of them are bought by the pharmaceutical industry. So,
Right.
I mean, what good is a degree anymore when you're just like doing what you're being paid under the table to do? I mean,
Yeah, and a lot of doctors are getting out of it, medicine, because in the real world, they're finding out what they teach them in school now to become a doctor is all about how to dispense medication.
yeah, it's a glorified freaking pharmacist. That's all you are, dude. I mean, your 8 years of medical school accounts for absolutely nothing. Sorry to inform you, and I don't care if I offend doctors that are out there. Sorry, guys, but think about it.
Well,
Really.
proof that one guy who went in to the hospital with signs of Ebola and said, I was in South Africa. They gave him a prescription of antibiotics and
And
sent him
send them
home.
home. Yeah, where's that? That comes from the pharmaceutical industry. Take two
Right.
pills and call me in the fucking morning, and
There you
there's my
go.
8 years, 10 years of medical education being put to great use. Right there, it's a perfect illustration there, Zori. Absolutely. So I don't expect that Obama's so-called degrees or whatever the hell else he thinks he has is that much better or more valid than that. So
Yeah.
I mean,
So I mean, what I'm saying is they should have made him a different kind of profession made up when they put him in office, and people wouldn't have questioned him. Maybe were supposed to question him and then not do nothing.
well,
And have
that
you
is
ever thought?
well, sure, that is exactly what's happening, and honest to God, nobody is electing these presidents. They are appointed. They're
Right.
appointed because um, they've been run through the rigmarole and mind controlled since they were children to be groomed for these positions.
Oh,
And
and then now Jeb Bush wants to be president. Did you see that?
oh yeah,
And 20,
he's another one that's been groomed. The whole entire Bush crime family is the top crime family of this nation, and they think that they're freaking royalty, and they're not. They are the lowest freaking scum of. I have like a real personal problem with that family.
well, they're the ones that the public gets to see, but you don't ever hardly hear anything about from Rockefeller
Oh
or
no,
any of them
no,
anymore.
no, and you're not going to either. So, because they're the assholes that are the string pullers. So
Yeah, they're
yeah,
so criminal.
Jebby, we've got to be. Oh man, and everybody thinks, oh, you gotta vote for Jeb Bush if he becomes on the Republican.
Yeah.
They're just gonna replace one dictator for another.
And we're doing just the same scenario. We get mad at the Democrats, so we put a Republican in there. We get
Right.
mad at the Republicans, we
We
put a
don't.
Democrat in,
That's
but
right.
nothing changes.
And nothing will change. And I'm hoping that with Obama's like massive amount of complete um
Destruction.
destruction, a good word, that people will be waking up in droves. I sort of don't see that happening, but it
I
is
see it
something.
happening under the wire. Like, more and more people are waking up. They're not doing anything yet, but I think if it really comes down to it, people are going to band together because, if I mean, it's just going to take something for it to explode because you don't, you used to talk about these things to people and they just look at you with a blank look. People now comment, they have something to say, they at least say, I know, but I don't know. I just get this feeling something's going to happen. Look at Hong Kong. Look at all the people out there that came together. And I have a feeling that something's going to happen that people are just going to say enough. I hope.
I guess in Hong Kong they're just kind of waiting for the big police crackdown there, and believe
Yeah,
me,
they
it's
did
gonna
come in.
happen.
Yeah, they came in one night and suppressed the crowd. But I mean, there's still even the teachers, and I mean, there's teachers and professionals. They're all out there too, and they've been peaceful from since the first night. But I mean, you look at all the people out there, and they're fighting for their freedom, for their
Well,
democracy.
I can,
And what are we doing as ours deteriorates?
yeah, I can guarantee you that the Chinese government's not going to be using plastic bullets and frickin' beanbag rounds.
Um, well, we'll see. I
Yeah,
mean, the whole world's watching there too. But the one thing the China doesn't want is for these people to have, free speech.
that's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely correct.
You know,
Um,
I so many people in Hong Kong. I mean, what gives us the right to give countries away? Like the Brits gave Hong Kong to China,
well, that was a stipulation way back
right?
when the Brits had initially like conquered that little island.
And
And
then they
so that
just give it
was,
away, you know.
well, it was, no, it was in the provisions of the actual British so-called Hong Kong Constitution, is that by a certain date, like I don't know, it was like 80 years or something. um, that by this date, then we will hand this back over to you. and that's been there on the books for all that time. And
Still, they're handing over a country. I don't care how long ago they did it. You know, I mean, okay, we're going to agree to give you this country back in this many years, and to hell with whatever the people want. Do you see what I mean? It's like we give, I don't know, New York to Canada. It doesn't matter what
what?
the people want. Well, they're passing this country back and forth.
Wait, New, when did
No,
we
I
get?
was just using that as an example.
Oh,
But I mean, see, it doesn't matter if it was an agreement made 80 years ago between China and the Brits. But what about the people of Hong Kong? They have nothing to say about who's ruling them.
well, of course not. I mean, because they're being ruled by a monarchy. I mean, that's just
But
back
in
with
Hong
the
Kong,
British.
they have rights right now, and they do have freedom of speech. But that's what they're fighting for, is to keep it.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
that's right. Well, they were used to it for 80 years, and now it's all coming to roost. It's amazing to me how it's taken so damn long, because it's been um over 10 years since they handed it back over to the Chinese, right? Why is it taking so damn long um
Maybe
to
like us, they're waking up.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Seems
But,
like it should have been done back then, like when it first happened.
right. Yeah, it's crazy. But to me, I don't see how one country has the right to own another country and then give it away, or, or give it back. And I don't know. It's weird. I don't understand how that's working over there, but I've never really paid that much attention to the Middle East or China or anything until all this broke out.
Yeah, well, it's integral. All this whole stuff happening with China and with Russia is integral to what is going to happen here in the future pretty darn
Yeah.
soon. I mean, I guess according to the feeds, Russia has 1,643 nuclear missiles ready to launch, one more than the U.S. Oh, isn't that nice?
Like it's going to matter after the first one's launched.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's not going to matter at all.
I know. What is the point of having hundreds or millions of these nuclear weapons when it's only going to take one or two? Who's going to be around to launch the others?
Right. No one, because it's mutual assured destruction.
Right. And then we tell Iran and other countries, we decide who can have nuclear weapons and who can't. How crazy is that? When
Yeah,
we
man.
have more,
All right. You want me to read this?
yeah, please.
Okay. It says Russia's deployed nuclear capacity overtakes U.S. for the first time since 2000. Russia has 1,643 nuclear missiles ready to launch, one more than the U.S. Oh, hey, that means they're going to beat us. According to official State Department report, both countries have been upgrading their active nuclear arsenals since the outbreak of the Ukrainian conflict. Oh, yay! Isn't that wonderful? How we just disregard treaties that we've signed. Um, Typical. Just ask any Native American. Um, okay, the U.S. report is based on official figures exchanged between the two countries as part of the new START disarmament treaty, which includes missiles deployed before September 1st. The numbers show a significant increase from March, when the data showed that Washington had a capacity of 1,585 payloads and Moscow 1,512. The current figures are in violation of the New START treaty signed in 2010 by Barack Obama and then President Dmitry Medvedev during a short-lived reset in relations between the two states, which prescribe a limit of 1,550 deployed warheads. Now, Do you guys remember? And I remember because Hillary Clinton was the Secretary of State back then. When this treaty was signed in 2010, I remember her having that big Staples red button. You remember her doing that and then pushing the reset button between us and the Soviet Union? Oh, here's the reset button. Reset, reset, and she was just pushing this freaking big red button there on the podium. I remember that. I'm thinking, what the hell are you freaking doing? Are you resetting it to, oh, maybe like start escalating tensions between Russia and the US again, dear Hillary? Yes, that's exactly what the hell she was freaking doing, so I was right when I assumed that back then.
Mm-hmm.
Watching her do
Exactly.
that. Oh my god, I remember those images. I was like, are you a freaking moron here, you silly cow? Oh my god.
Yep.
Okay, so let's see. Overall, the authoritative Center for Arms Control and Nonproliferation believes Moscow has more than 8,000 warheads and Washington has over 7,000. Oh boy, they've got 1,000 more than us. Although not all of them can be allocated to efficient delivery systems. Russia has recently announced that a planned overhaul of its entire nuclear arsenal by 2020 as part of a wider rearmament program that's been budgeted for $700 billion. Although Moscow has not provided a detailed breakdown of how it achieved the upgrade of nuclear capacity over the past months, experts on both sides of the Atlantic have speculated that the rise has been due to the armament of one or possibly two Bory-class nuclear submarines. Those are equipped with Bulva Bulava missiles, widely considered to be the most expensive project in Russia's military history, which, after the program plagued gestation, have finally been deemed ready for deployment. Vladimir Putin has recently boasted that the supersonic missiles, which can rapidly change their trajectory, cannot be shot down by any missile defense system in the world, however sophisticated. Russia has also invested in mobile Yars systems, and there are plans to revive the nuclear missile trains common in Soviet times. Washington has expressed increasing alarm at the Kremlin's rearmament drive, with emotions running high after the Obama administration accused Moscow of violating the 1987 Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty. In July, with its it says sorry guys, Iskander class missiles prompting sharp denials and counter-accusations from Moscow. The Russian deception of negotiating a nuclear arms reduction while building up nuclear arms poses direct threat to the United States. Jim Ivanhoff, a member of the Senate Armed Services Subcommittee on Strategic Forces, wrote in an editorial last month accusing the U.S. of reducing its nuclear forces as Russia races ahead. Yes, well, this is obvious. It's too late to negotiate the Russians back into compliance. They have tested this capability, and we have no way to know for certain whether they will deploy these systems. While figures may look alarming, the total numbers for both countries remain far short of their 1980s peaks, when the Soviet Union alone possessed over 40,000 warheads. I don't think we are on the verge of a new arms race. That's bullshit. At least Russia definitely won't be a part of it in our case. It's just that time has come for us to modernize our nuclear and conventional arsenals, Russia's foreign minister Sergei Lavrov told RTU last month. The the U.S. nuclear arsenal is somewhat younger than ours, but perhaps it is also time for them to upgrade it, which I just hope that the U.S. will abide by the provisions of the New START Treaty, which are legally binding. So, while they are upgrading their arsenals, we do absolutely nothing and actually are actively reducing the number of missiles that we have, while Russia. It's just stupid because if all this stuff goes off, I mean, nobody's going to be alive to care about it anyway.
Right. And now, that's another thing, another fear, building up another fear. So,
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah, it's just I've always said that. One nuclear bomb set off here, and then we react with a nuclear bomb, and then who cares how many more you have?
Right. Absolutely. It doesn't matter after a certain point.
Right. I mean, we signed that agreement years ago to, get rid of all the nuclear weapons, but yet we have to modernize them now. So it's crazy. It they it's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then if you go back, you'll find that the same thing was said 20 or 30 years ago. And anything, everything that comes out, I bet you it's like my grandma always said, if you take the clothes you wear today and you put them in a box and you keep putting them away in a box, turn it over and in 20 years they will be in style again. Well, it's the same with our government and all their lies. They just turn the box over. We haven't used this one for 20 or 30 years, so we can use this one now.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at the Cold War. How many years has it been since the Cold War? And now they're building it up again.
Yeah, well, I knew that wasn't going to last forever. I even knew it back then when the wall came down, the Berlin Wall, and now, they've signed all these treaties. I knew that wasn't going to last. I just knew it
Yeah.
back then.
It's the UN. We need to get out of the UN and get the UN out of our country.
Hmm. That's
Yeah.
right.
I mean, how many times has Obama referred to, the UN gave us authority to do
Right.
this or to attack Syria?
That's where that son of a bitch gets his marching orders, is from the UN.
Well, yeah, he was head of the Security Council. That was treason right then, and
Absolutely. And nobody, and really, I mean, nobody is going, even if they did, like, have all this big list of impeachment
treasonous,
stuff, treasonous, like, actions that this guy, no one's going to list that when that's, like, the obvious, like, just the obvious blatant form of treason possible. Oh my.
Right. I mean, and then the press, you didn't see very much of it about it on the press, but the ones that did reported it as an honor instead of a treasonous act.
An honorary title, you mean?
No, as oh well, our country can be honored that our president was put in charge of sitting over the Security Council. Well, excuse me, but that is treason.
That's right.
He is not allowed to do that.
No.
But yeah.
Well, it's the same damn thing of him, being born in Kenya. That's treasonous too.
Yeah.
So.
Too bad Jules isn't here today. DNA linked to how much coffee you drink.
Oh, no way!
And listen, it comes from New York.
Oh my God.
How much coffee do you drink every day? 1 cup in the morning, or do you gulp it all day? Scientists have long known that your DNA influences how much Java you consume. Now, a huge study has identified some genes that play a role. Their apparent effect is quite small, but variations in such genes may modify coffee's effect on a person's health. And so genetic research may help scientists explore that, said Marilyn Cornelis, of Harvard School of Public Health. She led the research. So I wonder how many millions of dollars we're going to put into finding out why certain people drink coffee. But I just seen that and I thought of Jules immediately.
That's awesome.
It's in the genes. It's in the genes.
Don't they use that for everything as an excuse?
Oh yeah.
I think we were
Yeah.
saying that last week. Oh, it's genetically oriented. Oh, blame your parents. Blame your grandparents. Yeah. Don't even
Yep.
don't even look at your bad freaking diet. We were totally seeing that last week.
Yep. So, now in New York, they're doing a big study, a huge study, they said. So it's real important to find out why Jules drinks so much coffee.
Exactly.
With everything else that's going on in the world, we got to know why Jules drinks so much coffee.
Oh my God. I think I saw some blurb yesterday where they're spending money to find out like why fat chicks can't get dates.
Well, oh God, you're kidding me.
No, I'll find the damn thing. It's retarded.
They have these weird. I mean, if there was a book published a while back that listed all of these different research labs on such crazy things, on ketchup, on just off the wall stupid stuff that pertains to what? You know,
I found it.
what is it gonna? How is it gonna benefit everyone to know why somebody drinks more coffee than someone else?
It's not. It's just another reason to spend all of this money. It's justification for the budget. It's justification for them looting our bank accounts through the IRS. They have to justify this shit by spending money on, oh, look, it's for research. Never mind, like roads and infrastructure. But, yeah, it says feds wonder why fat girls can't get dates. Oh my God. Feds spend, NIH spends about $466,000 to determine if it's all about that bass? Shit, what the fuck? Alright. The federal government is spending nearly $500,000 to find out why obese teenage girls have a hard time getting dates. Well, perhaps it's because of their fucking diets. Wow, I didn't even have to spend one dime to figure that out. The National Institutes of Health, which should be completely dismantled because they're worthless, awarded a $466,000 grant last week for the study. Last week. Which will examine whether social skills have an impact on why obese girls have fewer dating experience than their less obese counterparts. Mounting evidence demonstrates that weight influences intimate, i.e., dating and sexual relationship formulation and sexual negotiations among adolescent girls. The grant's abstract states obese girls consistently report having fewer dating and sexual experiences, but more sexual risk behaviors, i.e., condom non use, once they are sexually active. Oh my God. I don't even know. I'm starting to get a sick feeling in my stomach reading this. It is just, and it's really long, and I don't think I want to read
Just
any more of it.
put the link in chat so that
Holy
if they
sheep
wanna.
shit. I'm physically getting ill reading that. Because it's, what the fuck are we doing? Why are we wasting money on this kind of crap? I mean, it's just like the assholes wasting money on like studying cow flatulence. I mean, it's the same damn thing. They're granted all these millions and millions of dollars, and then aren't we supposed to be broke? Aren't we supposed to be like freaking 19, 20 trillion dollars in debt right now? I mean,
Yeah.
what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah, remember, oh, what, 10 years ago or something, that guy came out with ways to get money from the government. There's so many ways that,
Yeah.
you just get money. And and people take advantage of that, and they put money aside for things like that, and for you know, stupid.
Sick, man. It just makes me sick. I couldn't even read that freaking thing because it, it's just the most insane crap of waste of money. This is why this whole damn government needs to be dismantled. This right here. I mean, the waste. It's like spending like $10,000 on a hammer. Remember when all that crap
Right.
was happening?
Yeah, and a toilet that costs. Well, and it happens on your local level a lot too. I had a friend that was a painter, and this one of the boards of supervisors. This was years ago, but he was contracted to paint, her office, and they agreed on the color. He painted it. Well, she didn't like it. It was just a shade off, and so they paid him again to go in and repaint it again. And these small little things really start building up.
Oh,
They paid him
absolutely.
twice for the same job.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's horse shit.
Hmm.
Um, and this prevalent there, and then oh my god, it's so hard to even know what to say about any of this crap anymore. It's just gone so far beyond the pale of logic or reason, that I'm virtually, I don't even know what to say anymore.
Well, here's uh, an article from Blacklisted News. Stephen King fears the world is starting to look like Orwell 1984.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Uh, it's tiring, explains Arthur Stephen King in this interview. To see the world looks more and more like George Orwell's version of 1984, where war is a constant thing. It's just a bit depressing. A bit? Oh, that was it. Wow, I thought there was a whole article there to it. What else he said? Well, there's a video, but yeah. I mean,
This
go ahead.
Jax just took a little excerpt out of the article that I just read about the obese study, and he actually picked out the only one that I should have freaking read. So thank you, Jax.
What is it?
It says
Re-
the study will specifically look whether overweight teen girls develop relationship skills later in life and will compare their trajectories of romantic and sexual relationship characteristics with others. The researchers will also contrast obese and non-obese African American and white adolescent girls. So,
oh God.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just I can't even deal with how insanely stupid this is. Why can't I like apply for a government grant for $500,000 for like I don't know, maybe
Get get that book and you can. It tells you how to, you can come up with some reason to research something no matter what it is, and they'll give you the money.
jeez. Oh my god.
Yeah. And yesterday I had to go downtown, and I was thinking back when I was a kid, I don't remember hardly anyone being overweight. Any of my
Right.
friends.
Right.
You know, I, this is got to do with food. Anyone who doesn't see that, I mean, not exercising, but kids in school do exercise. And I can barely remember hardly anyone being obese or way overweight, like it is now. And I looked, and every third person was not just overweight, but very much overweight.
Yes.
And,
And
and you know, and then they just keep eating this processed food, which makes you hungrier. It makes you, and I don't know.
well, it's the GMO too. I mean,
Mhm.
this is the GMO does something to it's rewriting our very DNA.
Right, and
And
nobody knows what's going to come of that
yeah,
in the
nobody
long
has
run.
any clue because there hasn't been any test or research done on it. And here's
No,
one that
Monsanto just said, "Oh, it's not harmful," and that was good enough for the FDA.
right, exactly. Meanwhile, China halts all GMO crop production and
Hmm.
development. And
Yeah.
apparently this happened, this was written just yesterday out of the anti-media news. So it's our very own people writing these articles, which is awesome. It says China's Ministry of Agriculture recently stopped a program that was developing seeds for GMO rice and corn, according to RT. In a surprise U-turn, China's Ministry of Agriculture has decided not to continue with a program which developed genetically modified rice and corn. Some environmentalists say public concerns about GM crops played a key role in the decision. On August 17th, when these permits were up for renewal, the Ministry of Agriculture decided not to extend them. In 2009, the ministry's Biosafety Committee issued approval certificates to develop two crops, rice and corn. Um, and it's kind of a big, long article. I guess I could just read it. Some people are saying that the Chinese elite are genuinely concerned about their own health, about cross-pollination and consequences similar to that, affecting even the most powerful and sealed-off people from the general public. It would be quite telling if the Chinese government banned GMOs entirely, but overall, it must be acknowledged that the Chinese government really couldn't care less about its people. Um, Yet GMO rice is already illegal to sell on the open market in China, so is it an express concern about the effects of GMOs on the entire planet, including enlists and the wealthy? People die in the streets in China every day from things as awful as lung problems and air contamination and starvation. The people of China might be cursed with some of the worst apathy anywhere in the world, having had it programmed into them through murder and force from the past and present regimes controlling the People's Republic of China. The people of China have trauma and countless forms and have faced hardships most Americans can hardly fathom. However, a Greenpeace official in Beijing said, "We believe that loopholes in assessing and monitoring GMO research, as well as public concern around safety issues, are the most important reasons that the certifications have not been renewed. Is this wishful thinking or some reason the government of China is willing to be concerned about the health of their people to this degree, but not in basically any other way? Yet even more interesting, what if the Chinese government genuinely saw GMOs as a threat to themselves, the government officials, and elites of China?" That's pretty interesting.
Right. And they say that China, they always put them down and like uh they don't care about their people and stuff. But look, this says that they do. And I just watched another video on Pigmine this morning that said that in China they are using technology like to help the elderly, because the elderly are going to be a lot of their population is going to become elderly soon. And so like they've made this one robot that helps them to stand up and to be able to get around, because they say they aren't going to have enough young people to take care of them. So they do think of the future, because without their people, there's nobody to dictate. So, of course they're going to care about the health of their people. Are you talking on mute?
Yeah, I'm talking on. Sorry. Okay. Let's see. It continues though, because this
Okay,
is an
go ahead.
interesting point. This gets brought up. Is this a sign that they believe GMOs are even a threat to the upper class of China? A threat, as in a threat to natural crops with cross pollination and things of that nature. The socio-psychopathic elites of China have no problem watching their people die and enslaving people involuntarily in their military, doing things like sticking pins on their uniforms to make soldiers stay awake for 24 hours a day, with a pin precariously sticking up so that if they rest their chins are stabbed with a pin. So would it make sense that the powers the powers that be in China are legitimately concerned about the dangers of GMO that could affect them, the elite. That would make them more aware or concerned of the consequences of their actions than the US government and Western powers that be. For the side of the story from the people for GMOs, in an interview for RT, Kong Kao, a GMO supporting associate professor at the University of Nottingham in the UK, says this signals a major blow to the fight to establish GM food in China. And anti-Western sentiment has been judged more convincing than a raft of studies endorsing the merits of agrobiotechnology. Government support for GM food is dwindling fast, and it seems safe to say that the opportunity to commercialize GM rice and with it the chance to help address some of China's most urgent problems is all but gone. It seems that the associate professor is blaming anti-Western sentiment on this with little reasonable or logical foundation. As if a senseless prejudice would determine the moves of an extremely powerful people who move with intent and great precision to preserve their own power and corrupt interests. Just senseless prejudice, just like Ebola is in my apartment building. This is discrimination, kind of like that, maybe. It should be obvious that the Chinese government make all of their decisions based on what benefits them, the upper class, the elite of the East. Therefore, it would seem as if they find GMOs to be threatening to their upper class, which is quite telling of their perspective. So that's interesting.
Well, most countries have banned GMOs,
Right,
except for America.
right. But what that article is pointing out is that they're not thinking of their people. They're just thinking about how the elites and their families are going to be affected by these GMO crops. So they're saying no.
Yeah.
That's
So
pretty
I
much
don't know.
what that was saying.
But yeah, that's another way of hurting us. We're most of what we produce in this country gets exported, and now when those countries refuse the few things we do still produce, then it just goes against the economy again. And
Yeah.
how anyone can say that the economy is improving is really living in a bubble.
Exactly. Speaking of that, um, I'm not going to read this whole thing. No, but I will try and pick out the best paragraphs of it. It says weaken and uneven. IMF cuts local growth forecast. So the International Monetary Fund has downgraded its global growth forecast for both this year and the next as a divergence emerges between those economies that are recovering and those that are not. Really? Um, that's all interesting. Um, yeah, there's a bunch of stupid stats here that I'm not going to read because the stats that come from the IMF are obviously skewed. Um, um, they're downgrading the entire world's economy. Speaking as the IMF World Economic Outlook was released on Tuesday, research director Olivier Blanchard says the world's economy recovery was weak and uneven and highlighted countries' very different evolutions. Growth is uneven and still weak overall, remains susceptible to many downside risks, the IMF reports said. So here we go. They are absolutely predicting globally a downward trajectory here, and that's very, very obvious. And that's all I will read about that. So they're telling us, they're pretty much warning us right now. Guess what? We're busting the move here.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Wow.
Get ready for the downward trajectory, man. All over the world. It's not gonna matter where you are. There's nowhere to there's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. It's that's what they're pretty much telling us.
Just yeah, just about. And now even if you did want to run, they are making it so expensive most people couldn't. If like uh uh you know, getting rid of your citizenship. I mean, even that is going to cost you lots of
Yeah,
money,
absolutely.
like $2,000 to, and you have to fill out a form and pass this interview. It's crazy.
So, is it still like 100 degrees there or in the 90s
We're
there?
in the 90s.
You're in the 90s. Yet snow arrived early in Alaska, and there's snow for all the Canadian provinces right now.
Uh-huh. I know.
Said
It's
6 feet of
crazy.
snow is on tap for Alaska this week.
Wow. Wow.
It's unbelievable.
This has got to be orchestrated. I don't know. But yet, the trees think it's going to be a really heavy winter because, like I said, you can walk out like yesterday. I swept off the porch, I swept the walkway, the driveway, all these acorns out of the way. I'll bet you when I go out there this morning after the show, it's going to be another blanket. I hear them all night long hitting my roof. All
Wow.
night long sometimes they'll hit like three or four and once and it startles you awake, and it's crazy. There are so many, and they're hurting my plants. My aloe vera plant, I have a real big one out front, and it's got holes in it where the acorns are puncturing it.
So what is like the typical like dead of winter temperatures that your area gets down to typically?
I mean, it's really cold if it gets down to 32,
Yeah.
but normally it's in the 50s.
So that's pretty much like some of the, what about at night? Does it ever get down to freezing at night?
Yeah, it does. Maybe three times in the winter where you gotta leave a little bit of water running except for your pipes not to freeze.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, our winters are mild. They aren't. I mean, it's yeah, like I say, 32. Now that's a rarity. 50s and 60s is the norm for winter here,
Mhm.
and we can have some days that are even 80 degrees.
So it'll be
Yeah.
interesting if you guys get this huge huge cold snap without any moisture.
Right. Or if we do get moisture, look at all the fires we've had.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna have landslides a lot. I mean,
Oh yeah.
and the north side of the Mount Shasta, we have glaciers busting up and sending water gushing down and mudslides right now.
Wow.
Yeah, and we have snow on the mountain just from those 2 days of rain. Like I said, my field is beautiful. You look out there and it's just green, beautiful green. And the day before the rain, it was all straw.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So,
We were
it's
talking about
amazing.
that the other day.
hmm and snow on the mountain, we haven't, I mean, there hasn't been snow on the mountain. I mean, and in all my years up here, I never seen that mountain bald of snow. I mean,
Oh, really?
oh yeah, a lot of it melts. That's how the Sacramento River gets built up and stuff. We get a lot of water from there,
Sure.
but it never went completely bald. This last year, it did go completely bald.
You mean devoid of snow?
Right, on this side. Now, the north side, the volcano side, Chastina, it still had glaciers and stuff, but this side, and so everybody was just commenting, wow, it's nice to see snow on Mount Shasta again because you notice right away. Because it was just
Wow.
there was always some snow up there, but and
That's
if they
pretty
say we're,
significant.
huh?
That's pretty significant.
Yeah, and you know what else? I have not seen chemtrails in like 4 or 5 days until yesterday.
Really?
hmm So
And
I
then
don't know
and then
what's up.
the you don't see the chemtrails and then suddenly it rains and now your field is green. That's
Yeah, and
interesting too, isn't it?
well, I heard I read it in one of these articles I think it was on geoengineering, that they grounded all their planes to modernize them or something, and people would notice a 3 or 4 day span where there were no chemtrails, and then they started up again. And so by watching my skies, I'm ready to believe that.
Are they modernizing them? Are they modernizing the equipment, or maybe just changing the formula up?
Right, probably changing the formula and
Yeah.
adding nano whatever. I mean, like people say, we don't know what is in them anymore.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, and like, oh well, today the board of supervisors is having another meeting on chemtrails. I'm going there after I get off the show.
Oh, neat.
And I have questions, and I have my documentation and everything. As from what they've done so far in investigating this. And I mean, they didn't, when they sent that small paragraph to, all our senators and representatives, they didn't even attach the documentation that we put forward of the facts.
Of course not.
And I can't get an answer from Larry Lee's, the one that the senators and everybody was supposed to respond to. He doesn't even have an email address. I had to send him a letter. But, that's all they did. And they did that. They sent this out on the day of the meeting. And they didn't, put any references in there to, it's a 5-hour video they sent along with it. These are the concerns of our citizens here. And please watch the DVD. And then if you have any questions or comments, to contact this Larry Lee. Well, I wouldn't even have time to sit down and watch a 5-hour video, and especially if there's no documentation sent with it. So nobody looked at it.
Exactly.
And I want to know, is that the extent of their looking into it? Is that keeping their word to us to get some answers?
There you go. Go get them, Zorie. Go get them.
Oh, man. Yeah, I can't wait to get there. And it's weird. This meeting hasn't been publicized.
Ooh.
Like the other meetings.
That's interesting. How'd you find out about it?
I watch very closely. I watch our board of supervisors, and most people don't go into that website and look at their calendar and see what is scheduled and what isn't, and they're always canceling and this and that. But as of this morning, they haven't canceled.
So do you know if Dane's going to show up there too?
I don't know. I sent him an email, and I forwarded him the letters I've written and the responses I've gotten, but I haven't heard from him yet. But he has a lot of internet problems up there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here we are, guys. We're at the end of the show now.
Wow.
And it's pretty fast.
Boom.
I mean, you can, at 8:00 tonight, you can catch the Geoengineering Watch with Dane replay at 8:00 tonight here on UCY.TV. But stay tuned for the next show, which is Post Ignorance with Kevin Blanche. Gotta love Kevin. And then at 1 is The Edge with John Stokes. And then at 3, we've got the Jack Blood Show. And then at 6:00 is the Ocelli Effect with Chuck Ocelli. Hey, Chuck. And then we've got at 9, after the Geoengineering Watch replay, we've got All Things Apocalyptic with G. Michael Hoff, the guy who invented the conflicted card game. And don't miss that. Then we got Primer Time with Dan and Michael at 10. And then Prepper Chicks After Dark at 11. So everybody have a really great day. And Jules should be on tomorrow. And
have fun on your birthday.
No, thank you. Everybody else have fun on my birthday.
Yeah, right.
Take care.
A reason to celebrate is Wendy's birthday. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye, everybody.